Hi, welcome to WP Talks. This is the Whitley Penn Cares podcast where we focus on our local nonprofit organizations. I'm joined by the managing director of American Warrior Association today, Anna Heel. Anna, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
We are so grateful that you're here today. I would love for you to just tell us a little bit more about American Warrior Association.
Absolutely. So the AWA is a nonprofit organization. We are based out of Fort Worth here, and our mission is to just address the critical impact of moral injury on our military service members, our veterans, and our first responders, as well as their families. And so we do this in a variety of ways. We have Warriors Refuge programs, which are our 5-day faith-based programs that are held up at mountain ranches across the country that just allow our warriors a space to rest and decompress and really walk through and unpack those traumatic events and those moral injuries so that they can start their healing journey. We offer these programs to the individual warrior, but also the spouse as well. And so it's really just this encompassing program to really serve the whole family. We also have the Urban Explorers program that allows past Warriors Refuge program participants to mentor at-risk youth. So we work with Hope Farm here in Fort Worth. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And we take their boys up and just do a modified Warriors Refuge program and have summer camp. And our warriors are able to mentor these kids and just love on them and instill great American values and leadership into the next generation of our leaders here in Fort Worth. And then we also have our newest R3 initiative, which I know you and I have talked a little bit about, and for first responder agencies. And so I have the opportunity to just, get to lead these and see the incredible life change that comes out of these programs.
So would you tell us more about what got you passionate about working with AWA and R3 and just kind of what you do in a typical day?
Oh man, that could take this whole podcast. So I'm going to try and keep it short for you. So my background, I have not served. I'm not a warrior, so to speak. Our whole family did, both my grandparents, my sister, she married Air Force and he retired after 23 years. And for me, my passion to serve our nation's servants was really watching her navigate that. They, got married right after basic training. And she walked that whole, just career journey with him. And the deployments and the traveling and just watching her raise the kids with a smile on her face and just do it with such strength and integrity just really allowed me to see that when one person serves, the entire family serves. And my background's in nonprofit development and management. And so when this opportunity presented itself for a transition, I knew that this was something that would allow me to just really dive in and serve, but then also be able to use my gifts and talents to be able to do that.
That's so beautiful. I love getting to hear that story. So you've talked a little bit about what the community receives from AWA, specifically because we've talked through what the warriors receive through the program. Is there anything you want to explore a little bit more? I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about the retreats too.
Yeah, absolutely. So our retreats, that's kind of the North Star of what we do. Everything kind of filters out past those retreats. And they're just a time. So think about, if you've ever been to a working dude ranch, like that's where you get to go, right? And so our service members, they just experience trauma, especially our first responders, day in and day out on the job. And life is crazy. And then you add, just normal stresses of life to the stresses at work. There's just not a lot of time to just rest and decompress and process. And so this provides them 5 days that we take them to a place where there is no internet access, a couple hours a day just to check in, no internet access, away from the stresses of life, out into nature. And when I'm able to attend these programs, I just always tell people it's so nice to be reminded how small you are. You just feel small. And you just see the beauty that God created around you. And it's quiet, and I can finally hear my thoughts. And I think that this is, what makes these programs so unique is that we're taking the individual out of the chaos of life and we're putting them in this quiet, safe, comfortable environment in nature. And they're surrounded by other individuals who have similar experiences. They understand. You're not coming into a space where you have to, explain to somebody, I see death every day, right? I experience trauma regularly every day. They just get it. And so it takes that pressure off of the individual to have to explain, number one. And then immediately they form just these incredible bonds. We have a curriculum that is faith-based. It is not Church on the Mountain, I tell you that, or this girl would not be here. It is just a very gentle reminder of we were created for a purpose, and that our identity is rooted in something that is so much bigger than us, and that it's not found in our job, and it's not found in our successes, and it sure as heck is not found in our failures. And so really allowing our warriors to process that individually, but then have that community to be able to share what they're thinking, get outside perspective, and then just really kind of unpack some of that. We have them write an identity statement while they're there. So it started on the first day and then it's finished on the last day. And it's amazing the change of tone and what is completed in that identity statement when they complete it on the last day. And, we just walk them through understanding really who they are, what moral injury is, that, there's nothing wrong with them at all. There's, they're not weak, they're not lesser because they have feelings. It's just normal human reaction to witnessing and experiencing trauma on a regular basis. And so having that space to do that and be vulnerable with other warriors and then form those bonds and relationships when, you leave those lies on the mountain, you come down with your new identity, but to have somebody who navigated that with you, you have a built-in buddy, built-in, battle buddy for the rest of your life. And those groups stay together. They do group texts. We have a book that they're able to walk through. It's like a short devotional type thing every morning that they get together and, just via Zoom, and every other week have coffee, walk through that, and just stay accountable, hold each other accountable. And when life does get tough, they can pick up the phone and they have 10 to 12 other people who are there cheering them on, saying, we got your back. And that's just huge.
I love what you guys do. For those of you listening to the podcast who don't know, I married a firefighter and I learned a lot of really big lessons quickly about how they process emotions or don't, and the support that they need to get through things. So you guys started a new initiative kind of really began it a couple of years ago, R3. And I'd love for you to talk about what you're willing to share about R3 and even tell us what R3 stands for.
Yeah. So we just recently started R3, Respond, Restore, Resolve. And this is our initiative that is just specifically for first responder agencies. So I do kind of want to give you a little background because people are like, what is this? How does it fit? And we've served first responders since the beginning. That's in our charter. We knew we wanted to include them in our mission. In 2022, we saw a 200% increase in first responders attending our programs. And so for me, I'm going, this is incredible, because we had done a great job marketing to our active duty service members, to our veterans, to our spouses. But man, that first responder community, as you well know, is very, very hard to tap into. So I just picked up the phone and started calling them and saying, what was your experience? We've seen an increase. How can we be a better resource? Was it our marketing? And they all said the same thing. It was, Anna, I heard from a friend. They told me I wasn't okay and I needed to just get away for 5 days and try out this program. And I said, great. How can we get everybody on this program? And they're like, well, it's really hard to take 5 days off, especially if you're a firefighter, right? You can't just leave an empty spot on a fire truck. And so thankfully we had a wonderful relationship with Mayor Parker and Chief Noakes and Chief Davis, and we just invited them to lunch, and we shared what we had learned, and we shared that, the board and the organization wanted to do something about this to allow our first responders the opportunity to proactively get training and resilience tools before the stress builds up and we have these critical incidents that we're seeing and the loss of life that we are seeing just escalate in first responder communities across our nation right now. And with their leadership, we formed a public-private partnership in September of 2023, and we got to work with their wellness teams, and we built a framework which we quickly recognized was something that could be implemented into any department, no matter the size, no matter where it was, if they had current wellness programs or not. And so we created R3. And so R3 is a comprehensive wellness and resilience program that allows our first responders paid training time to attend vetted and approved resources like AWA's programs. And we launched that internally to Fort Worth in March of 2024. We had 67 first responders just from Fort Worth attend just our programs and multiple attend the other programs as well. We have expanded R3 now into Dallas police and fire departments. And as of yesterday morning, DFW Airport Department of Public Safety as well. And we're working with multiple counties and agencies across the state of Texas to really make a greater impact with this program. It's unique because it's outside the four walls of the department. It allows paid training time to go and attend these. There's confidentiality built in, and they're all non-clinical programs. They're peer-based, they're peer-led, so that we are really working to reduce that stigma around talking about mental health, about saying, I'm not okay right now, and I just need a break and some tools, and I'm going to come back healthy and well. And that's really what we want. We want to create a culture that says we never want to get to that crisis point. We want to provide you everything we possibly can on the front end so that you are healthy in your job, so that you are healthy at home, and you're just healthy as an individual. And so, we have my favorite saying from one of our deputy chiefs here in Fort Worth, Buck Wheeler, is, I'm going to tell you before you ask any questions, do you train for firearms tactics? Yes. Do you train, do you go to all of these additional, trainings and everything? Yes. Right. They're required of you as a police officer. Well, this is just another training because we need to train to be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually resilient. And so we are just thrilled with the success we've seen. This program also provides access to culturally competent counselors that are not connected with the department so that our first responders can get the specific care that they need from clinicians, if that is also what they would like, to do to get that personalized one-on-one care. And we've seen 437 of our Fort Worth first responders reach out and get that culturally competent care through our clinicians. We're thrilled at the opportunity of expanding. And so we just want to really have Fort Worth set the new standard of care across the Metroplex, across the state of Texas, and ultimately nationwide, because this is where we need to get.
So speaking of Fort Worth leading the charge, they declared the city declared that June 11th was National Moral Injury Day. Is that right?
That is correct. So June 11th, the city did a special proclamation for the AWA and declared Moral Injury Awareness Day. The month of June is PTSD Awareness Month, and with moral injuries symptoms overlapping so much and it being the precursor to mental health disorders such as PTS and PTSD, we thought it very fitting to be that month. And it gives us an opportunity to just really highlight what our nation's warriors experience, what those lasting effects are. And I know we kind of didn't talk about it because we got excited about jumping into all the initiatives and programs. But moral injury is kind of an ambiguous term, and it defines as the unseen wounds to the soul, right? Those deep internal wounds after witnessing or experiencing a traumatic event. And it's not classified as a clinical mental health disorder. And so for us, this really allows us to address some of those symptoms of guilt and shame and isolation, and some of the overlapping symptoms of PTSD in a non-clinical manner. And this really reduces stigma, especially in our first responder community, by saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. I just need to get some tools to deal with all the trauma.
So let's talk about how we can get more involved. I know you have a couple of events throughout the year, but I think there's also just some things where we can just learn more, be more aware. Where would you point us?
So the first top of mind is Moral Injury Awareness Day. So the city of Dallas, we are hoping that they will join Fort Worth this year in declaring June 11th their Moral Injury Awareness Day as well. And we are actually hosting a luncheon, and it's going to raise awareness. We'll have experts in the field of moral injury. We'll have police and fire representatives, from the first responder community, one of our contracted clinicians, to just really host an incredible panel and luncheon to highlight that. And we could absolutely use extra hands and volunteers, but really for the community to just be aware and come out and attend and learn more. The number one thing I say is that, if you have thoughts, ideas, support, ways that you would like to get involved, reach out to us. We are very accessible. And if we call you, would ask that you pick up the phone. That's a huge deal for us. We also have our annual fundraising event, Hoedown for Heroes. It is this year. It is September 13th, and it's right here in Fort Worth. And we can always use volunteers. So come out, have a grand old time at a hoedown right here in Fort Worth. Help with auction, raffle, all the things. It's a wonderful night. And then, of course, with donations. We are a nonprofit. Our programs are completely free of charge. That includes travel to and from our programs across the country. And so donations are always a welcomed gift.
So let's say you're married to a first responder, or you have a friend who's a first responder or a warrior, or just somebody who might need to know more about this program. Can you tell us how they could get involved?
Well, I would say attend a program, because there is no better way to understand our organization and be able to speak from experience. And it's always better when a friend refers you. We run 2 men's and 2 women's programs at minimum every month of the calendar year. And you can find that schedule and a quick online application on our website, and that is awa-usa.org. There is a dash in there. We are sorry.
Well, this was a lot of fun, and I'm so grateful that you came on. I'm so personally grateful for the work you're doing. You've made it easier to talk about some things at home and with our fire friends and police friends. And I would just encourage you guys to share this podcast, comment, just talk about it when you're late night scrolling with your friends. We'd love to have you share more about this, as this is just such an important role that these men and women play in our community, and that we need to just kind of give them some love and support.